Chapter 1452. But the funny thing was, when did his Mion become his? They had been together since they were young. What did Huasiqian have to do with it? Wasn't this guy a bit too shameless? Seeing that Qin Chu didn't say anything, Mayor Qin thought that he was weighing the pros and cons. I know Zhang Liangui well, he's not that capable. It must be Huasiqian who instigated this. Chu, although he's my daughter's husband, I won't side with him because of that. On the contrary, Uncle Song watched you grow up and loves you deeply. I won't trick you. Listen to me, the two of you don't have to go to this extent over one thing. Why don't you just give it back to him? Don't make things worse. If things continue like this, the city's development will be in chaos. The provincial government called today and the big boss specifically criticized me. I'm going to retire in 5 years and I don't want to cause any more trouble. You have to understand your Uncle Song. Uncle Song, it's not that I don't understand. First of all, the thing he said never belonged to him. It's always been mine. Second of all, the thing he said was precious to me. It's as important as my life. Do you think I'd give my life to him? Mayor Song didn't say anything after hearing this. Uncle Song, I know you're doing this for my own good. If it was something else, I'd just let it go. After all, I don't want to be his enemy. This isn't a child's game, it's a gamble with my life. But this time I really can't let it go. I can give up everything, including everything I have, but my life. I can't give it up. Qin Chu's attitude was firm. To him, Huamin was his life. Not to mention Huasiqian, no one could have her. No one could take Mion away from him. Okay, I got it. Don't panic, I'll go back the day after tomorrow and we'll talk about it. Okay. After hanging up, Qin Chu fell silent. Although Mayor Song said so, Qin Chu knew that Mayor Song had no way to stop Huasiqian. If he was afraid of Mayor Song, he wouldn't have done such a ridiculous thing. Huasiqian didn't put anyone in his eyes when he made up his mind to join forces with more than a dozen real estate tycoons to suppress him. So what was Mayor Song to him? Even if he came back, there was no way to save him. Right now, all GK could do was wait and see how long this price war would last. There was nothing else they could do. 3 days later, GK couldn't take it anymore, and Qin Chu called for an emergency meeting to activate the company's reserve funds. Because GK's property prices refused to be lowered, the negative impact was too great and caused public anger. The stock market continued to plunge. Once again it plummeted. It hadn't been that long since the last time, so his vitality had been greatly depleted. Within 3 days, GK lost billions. For Qin Chu, losing so much money wasn't the most dangerous thing. The most dangerous thing was that if the stock market continued to plunge like this, not only would GK lose more money, but GK would also become heavily in debt. Tell all the real estate project managers to lower the price to 4,000 yuan starting today. Sir, if we lower the price to 4,000 yuan, we'll lose a lot of money. Yang kindly reminded him. Chapter 1453. I know, but there's really no other way. If we don't lower the price, the stock market won't recover and we'll still die, sir. Even Yang felt bad for the president. Go. Choosing the lesser of two evils was the wise choice of a king. However, on the same day, GK announced that it would lower the price to 4,000 yuan, joining the wave of price cutting. Another piece of negative news exploded. GK's executive vice president, Su Changji, was taken away by the Independent Commission Against Corruption for investigation. Apparently, he bribed a high-ranking official in the province with a huge sum of money, and the official had just been thrown into jail a few days ago. Without a doubt, this kind of news was a big blow to GK. After the incident was exposed, many netizens began to speculate. Some said that Su Changji did a lot of shady things behind Qin Chu's back, and that he embezzled a lot of money himself. He owned 5 mansions in the US and had more than 10 mistresses. Some said that Qin Chu, as the CEO, not only did he not criticize, he even indulged him. With the momentum of the negative news, GK's stock market didn't recover. Instead, it kept falling. They even ignored the fact that GK had already cut their losses and lowered their prices. Qin Chu's decision to save the company disappeared like a stone sinking into the ocean. Huasiqian really put in a lot of money this time. One trap after another, and there was no end to it. It was a chain of traps and each one was fatal. For the first time, Qin Chu felt so much pressure that he couldn't breathe. Huamin went to eat with his mother, and as soon as he came out, he was surrounded by reporters outside. Lady Qin, can you tell us what's going on at GK right now? Lady Qin, Are you still going to hold your wedding on the 28th? Can't you change the date? I heard that GK lost tens of billions in assets in the past few days, and is about to go into debt, right? Mrs. Qin, what do you think about Su Changji, the executive vice president of your company? Are you familiar with him? Lady Qin, GK is in such a mess this time. Does President Qin have any ideas about how to deal with it? Huamin was dizzy from the questions. Plus, these questions were very difficult to answer. If he answered incorrectly, people would twist his meaning and write even worse stories about him. So this time Huamin chose to remain silent. She lowered her head and didn't speak on the way to her Audi R8. Wearing black sunglasses and a white sweater. Originally, she wanted to go back to the company and think of a solution with Qin Chu. Just then her mother-in-law's call. Mian, why can't he pick up? Mom, he's been having a lot of meetings recently. He might be in a meeting right now. Mian, come here as soon as possible. What? Your dad's dad, this morning. Isn't dad in the hospital? Mian was surprised. Yes, but when I was taking him for a walk in the back garden of the hospital this morning, he suddenly collapsed. He's still being resuscitated. I called Qin Chu, but he didn't pick up. I was so worried. Mom, don't worry, I'll be right there. Huamin was going to the company, but after receiving his mother-in-law's call, he made a sharp turn and changed his route. He drove straight to the first hospital. Outside the ward, Huamin and Lady Qin waited anxiously. Lady Qin's face was pale and her fingers were shaking slightly. It was obvious that she was scared. Dad's going to be fine, don't worry. Chapter 1454. Lady Qin nodded as she held onto Huamin's hand and looked around. During this time Huamin called Qin Chu, but he couldn't get through. Later he called Yang and found out that Qin Chu was having a video conference in the executive meeting room, planning a plan. It had been more than 2 hours, but they were still in the meeting room. GK was surrounded on all sides. Especially after Su Changji's incident, GK was pushed to the center of attention. Huamin originally wanted to ask his in-laws what kind of person Su Changji was. Apparently he was very close to Qin Chu's father back in the day, and was one of the founding members of GK for 3 generations. Huamin hadn't seen him much, because he spent most of his time abroad dealing with GK's overseas affairs. A few days ago he came back to China to spend time with his family, but to his surprise he was taken away by the Independent Commission Against Corruption. It was too sudden. Just then the door to the operating room opened and Huamin and Lady Qin immediately walked in. How is it? How's my husband? Lady Qin asked anxiously. He's stable for now. Upon hearing this, Huamin and his mother-in-law both sighed in relief. Then Dr. Lu looked at Huamin meaningfully and said, Dr. Hua, come with me, I'll get you some medicine. Inject it into the patient later. Huamin was smart enough to know that Dr. Lu didn't say this to get medicine. Instead he said something important behind his mother-in-law's back. Sure enough, after they entered Dr. Lu's office, Dr. Lu took off his mask and said with a serious expression, Dr. Hua, your father-in-law's condition isn't looking good. Huamin's heart skipped a beat. What's his condition? She asked worriedly. That black shadow in the brain has been confirmed to be a tumor. I don't know what external stimulation the patient received recently, but the tumor grew very quickly. At first it was only the size of a grain of rice, but now it's the size of a soybean. Huamin remained silent after hearing this, but his heart was extremely heavy. Dr. Hua, you're a doctor too. You should know what this means. The brain isn't like other parts of the body. Once something presses against it, it'll be very dangerous. His current condition of fainting is considered minor. If he doesn't undergo surgery in time, I'm afraid his entire body will be paralyzed. I know. Huamin's heart sank. I'm sure you know why I called you here. Why don't you discuss it with your family and see what you can do? Now there are only 2 options. The first is a craniotomy, but it's very risky because his location is in the central area. If it's a malignant tumor, it may spread faster after the surgery. The second is conservative treatment, but this is also a delaying tactic. Once the tumor erupts, his life will be in danger. Huamin lowered his head, his expression grave. Okay, I got it. I'll discuss it with my husband and mother-in-law. Thank you, Dr. Lu. You're welcome. But you have to do it as soon as possible. I don't think the patient can hold on much longer. Okay, I'll do it as soon as possible. Huamin walked out of the office with tears in his eyes. After Huamin walked out of the office, she hid in a secluded corner of the hallway and secretly cried. Although her father-in-law was very old-fashioned, he was still a good person and treated her well. She didn't have a baby yet. If something really happened to her father-in-law, then she would die of guilt. She had studied her father-in-law's condition with Qin Chu before, and it was indeed not good. She just didn't expect it to worsen so quickly. Huamin wiped away her tears and walked into the VIP room with a smile. What did Dr. Lu say? How's your father doing? Chapter 1455. Oh, it's nothing. Dad's just tired. Huamin forced a smile. Your dad, he's such a worrywart. Chu told him to take care of himself and not worry about anything, but he has to buy the newspaper to read every morning. I don't know what he read, but he's always unhappy. I wanted to take him for a walk to cheer him up, but he fainted. I was so scared. Lady Qin didn't pay attention to the news, so she didn't know that GK was in danger. Mom, just take good care of Dad. Qin Chu and I will take care of the rest. Thank you for coming here again. Mom, we're family. This is what I should do. After comforting his in-laws, Huamin left the hospital. On her way to the company, she was in low spirits. She didn't know how to tell Qin Chu. Qin Chu was so close to his father. If he knew, he would probably feel even worse. He must be under a lot of pressure now that GK was in trouble. Huamin's heart ached for Qin Chu. He didn't want to let Qin Chu shoulder so much on his own. However, he couldn't hide this from Yang because his father-in-law's life was in danger. A young lady, you're here. Where is he? He's still in the conference room. He's still in the conference room? How long has he been in there? 3 hours and 25 minutes. Yang replied. Okay, I'll wait in the office. After Yang poured Huamin a glass of warm milk, he turned around and left. Half an hour later, Qin Chu came back. Honey, as soon as he saw Huamin sitting on the sofa in the office, his mood brightened. It was as if all of his troubles were forgotten. Honey, how is it? Does GK have a solution? The savings fund has been activated. I don't know how long it can last. All the departments are adjusting their strategies. The price has been pushed down. Now we just have to wait for the stock market to recover. I hope it doesn't continue to fall, otherwise we won't be able to hold on for long. He didn't hide anything from Huamin. Huamin was not a fool. He knew what kind of situation the company was in. You don't look too good. What's wrong? Honey, Dad fainted today. His condition isn't very optimistic. Huamin bit his lips and decided to say it. Qin Chu seemed to be within his expectations. I just saw Mom call me. What did Dr. Lu say? Qin Chu asked slowly. Dr. Lu, it's just as you expected. There are only 2 options, conservative treatment or surgery. But with Dad's current condition, it seems that conservative treatment is no longer possible. Craniotomy is very risky. I got it. Qin Chu nodded. Honey, is there anything I can do for you right now? Huamin stood up and looked at Qin Chu's haggard face. His heart ached. What you need to do is eat well and sleep well. Qin Chu cupped her face and gently kissed her eyelashes. Honey, everything will be fine. We don't need anything, we'll face it together. Huamin put his arms around Qin Chu's waist and thought of the words on the invitation. In this life, we'll go through thick and thin together. I'm fine, don't worry. Be a good girl and sit down for a bit. I'll go take care of some documents. Then Qin Chu sat down at his desk and continued working. Huamin sat on the sofa and quietly accompanied him. No matter what happened, no matter what GK's future was, no matter what Qin Chu's fate was, Huamin felt like he had to stay by Huamin's side and never leave him. After a few days of losing sales and the stock market plunging, GK was on the brink of collapse. That night, a famous financial blogger posted a long post on Weibo, saying that GK was now in debt and was about to collapse. Then many famous people on Weibo reposted the post. Because of this, the media reported on it without restraint. At 8 p.m., after Huamin and Qin Chu finished dinner, Qin Chu went into his study for a video conference. Zhu Lingling sent a WeChat message to Huamin in the group chat. Mian, what's going on? Why are people saying that your family is going bankrupt? Chapter 1456. Huamin, yes, we're going bankrupt. Zhu Lingling, really? Don't tease me. Jiang Shaowei, she's not teasing you. The situation isn't looking good. How much debt do you have now? Huamin, I didn't calculate the exact amount. When the market closed today we only had about 800 million yuan. That's not a lot. I just don't know what will happen tomorrow. Huamin felt like he was riding a roller coaster every day. It was exhilarating. He had a net worth of 10 billion yuan, but in just a few days he was in debt. Now she finally understood why a pair of famous American tycoons fell from being billionaires to selling newspapers on the streets during the global financial crisis in 2008. Yes, they were rich, but they took on more risks than ordinary people. Zhu Lingling, 800 million yuan? That's not a lot. You're scaring me. Jiang Xiaowei, Mian, don't worry. I've discussed it with Wei Liao. If you need money, just let me know. Wei Liao has 600 million yuan in liquid funds. It won't be a problem. Huamin, not yet. I'll let you know when I need it. Thank you, Wei Wei. Jiang Xiaowei, don't be so polite with me. Plus, I know that even if we're in trouble it's only temporary. With Qin Chu's ability he'll definitely be able to resolve this crisis. Huamin, yeah, I believe in him too. Zhu Lingling, Huamin, I can't help you much. Let me treat you to dinner. What do you want to eat? Huamin, I'm really busy right now. We'll meet again when we have time. Jiang Xiaowei, Mian, now that something like this has happened, can the wedding still go on the 28th? Huamin, after 3 minutes of silence he slowly said, I don't know yet. I'll discuss it with Qin Chu later. Jiang Xiaowei, okay. Let us know if there's any news. Huamin, okay. After logging out of WeChat she didn't dare to go to Weibo at all because it had already been taken over by the internet water army. They were all cursing her. No matter how strong she was she couldn't bear to watch. His mother didn't know much about the company so she didn't know. Jixin, on the other hand, made several calls and heard that GK was in deep trouble overseas. Huamin only told Jixin the good news and not the bad news. But after calming down even he sighed slightly. Huamin took a hot shower and walked out in her nightgown. She leaned on the bed and let her imagination run wild. She didn't even notice Qin Chu coming in. Qin Chu approached her and scratched the tip of her nose affectionately. What are you thinking about? Why are you so engrossed? Honey, why don't we postpone the wedding? What's wrong? Qin Chu lifted the quilt and walked over, putting his arm around Huamin's shoulder. Too many things have happened recently and you're too busy. This situation isn't suitable for a wedding. Let's wait until this storm blows over. I think a wedding might help us resolve this crisis. It's okay. I don't need it, I can handle it. Let's go on as usual. Huamin counted the days. There were only 9 days left. Would everything really go smoothly? Why did she always feel flustered in her heart? The next morning Qin Chu and Huamin each drove out. Qin Chu went to the company, and Huamin continued shopping for things she needed to buy for the wedding. Qin Chu originally wanted to go with her, but too many things had happened recently so he didn't have time. Huamin casually walked around a high-end shopping mall, but she wasn't in the mood to buy anything. Just then her phone suddenly rang. She glanced at it and saw that it was Su Yu's number. Hello. Where are you? I'm at Rainbow Street. Give me 10 minutes, I'll be right there. Then Su Yu hung up. 10 minutes later, Su Yu appeared at the entrance of the shopping mall. Let's talk somewhere else, there are too many people here. Su Yu looked around and discussed with Huamin. There's a coffee shop over there, let's go there. Huamin and Zhu Lingling often shopped here so they were familiar with each other. Okay. Then the two of them went to the coffee shop together. Did you need something from me? Huamin knew that Su Yu wouldn't ask her for coffee if he didn't need something. Su Yu didn't say anything, but he took out a check from his bag and suddenly pushed it in front of Huamin. Huamin glanced at the number on the check and was shocked. Chapter 1457. I heard that your company is in a bit of trouble right now. Take this money. It's part of my savings. When I get home tonight I'll tell my dad to get a loan from the Su family bank so that he can give you more money. He was very sincere. He even told Huamin that it was her company, not her husband's company. His tone made Huamin feel very comfortable. It meant that he really treated her as a friend. So you know I can't take so much money from you guys. Are you kidding me? 1 billion is a lot. With your current situation if you guys keep going you'll end up in more debt. You have to make up for it. That bastard Huasiqian is so evil I can't just stand by and watch you guys. I still can't take your money, Huamin slowly said. Is it because of Chin Chu? Suyu stared at Huamin's face and asked. Huamin didn't say anything. Actually, I know that people will gossip if you guys use my money, but really, you have to weigh the pros and cons. Now is not the time to care about your reputation. If you don't say anything, no one will know that I gave you the money. I'm not asking you to pay me back right away. You can give me the money when you guys get through this crisis. I don't want interest, is that okay? Suyu really wanted to help Huamin, so he came prepared with a check for 1 billion yuan. He didn't even need Huamin to sign an IOU. How much trust did he have in him? That's still not okay. I know my husband. He has a lot of pride just like me. We don't want your money. After all, there were so many scandals, it wouldn't be good if someone used it to make an issue out of it. But I appreciate your kindness. Thank you, Suyu, Huamin. Suyu still wanted to say something. Waiter, bring me the menu. I'm hungry. Huamin smiled and changed the topic, which also helped Suyu resolve the awkwardness. Eating here? Shall we go somewhere else? Suyu glanced back. This was a coffee shop. Let's just eat here. I'm too lazy to change. You're treating no problem, right? Huamin smiled brightly. Suyu felt his heart race. Why aren't you saying anything? Huamin tilted his head and looked at Suyu. Nothing. Suyu blushed slightly. Huamin took the menu and glanced at it. There was nothing to eat. I'd like a sirloin steak, medium well, fries, fruit salad, onion rings, and a cup of hot milk tea. Original flavor, thank you. Sir, what about you? The waiter looked at Suyu. The same as her. Suyu didn't know what he wanted to eat either. So he ordered the same thing as Huamin. Huamin was a bit hungry after shopping all morning. He ate a lot, but his table manners were still decent. Suyu didn't have much of an appetite. He would occasionally peek at Huamin as he ate. The opportunity to eat with Huamin face to face was too rare. Although he didn't manage to borrow money from Huamin, Suyu felt very happy to be able to eat with him. He even selfishly hoped that time would pass slowly. Otherwise, this moment of happiness would be gone in an instant. After they finished eating, Huamin called the waiter over. Bill, please. The total is 588 yuan. Pay the bill. Bro, why are you looking at me like that? I'm not paying the bill. Huamin picked up a napkin and wiped his mouth. He looked at the stunned Suyu and reminded him with a smile. Chapter 1458. He finally realized what was going on and felt embarrassed. He quickly took out 10 100 yuan bills and placed them on the table. Keep the change. Thank you, sir. Delighted, the waiter took the money and left. Where are you going? Do you want me to drive you? Suyu offered. It's okay, I'll drive myself. I'll go to Chin Chu's company in a bit. Oh, okay, then I'll leave now. Bye. Huamin waved his hand and walked out. Huamin, yeah? Huamin turned his head. If you really need money as a last resort, remember to tell me. I don't dare to say too much, but I can work with my father's bank to give you 10 billion yuan. Turnover won't be a problem. Okay, I will. Huamin nodded and smiled. Then he walked out, got into his R8 and drove away. Suyu put away the 1 billion yuan check and left with a sigh. GK headquarters. When Huamin walked into the office, Chin Chu was looking at his computer while eating. He seemed to be working. Mr. Chin, can't you eat properly? Mrs. Chin, have you eaten yet? Chin Chu smiled gently. Yes, you just treated me to steak. Chin Chu raised his eyebrows. You had dinner with Suyu? Steak? You're getting bolder. Haha, I didn't make an appointment, I just happened to meet him. Oh, it's not really a coincidence, he came to me. Suyu is a very loyal person. He knew our company was in trouble and offered to lend me money, but I didn't take it. Why not? Chin Chu teased her. Because I believe my husband can solve it. Tisk, you're so good at making me happy. Chin Chu smiled in satisfaction and reached out to hug Huamin. Eat properly, Mr. Chin. Feed me, or else I won't be able to eat. That was true. Chin Chu had a poor appetite recently. He ate very little. He had to deal with the company and his father's illness. He was already beyond exhausted. Huamin sat on his lap, forked a small piece of braised meatball and fed it to Chin Chu. Just like that, the husband and wife were lovey-dovey. When Yang pushed the door open and came in, he was embarrassed. He opened the door and was about to leave. Come back. Chin Chu shouted. Boss, please continue. I didn't see anything. We're eating, not doing anything else. What are you thinking? Chin Chu looked at him helplessly. I want to remind you, boss, you'll be meeting a big client in 10 minutes. Okay, I got it. Chin Chu nodded and wiped the corner of his mouth with a tissue. Honey, I'm going to meet a client to discuss something. Okay, go ahead. I'll wait for you here, Huamin said with a smile. Chin Chu nodded, adjusted the collar and cuffs of his suit and turned around to leave. Huamin held the remote control and turned on the TV to watch TV. However, he accidentally saw Hua Xiqian's live broadcast. He was doing an exclusive interview in a high-profile manner. It was also about finance. The host asked him, President Hua, what do you think about the collective property price reduction in the city? Huamin straightened his back and stared at the TV. Hua Xiqian smiled and replied, Isn't that great? Everyone wants property prices to go down. Now that property prices are down, many people can buy it. Girls don't have to trouble their boyfriends anymore, and mothers-in-law don't have to trouble their son-in-law anymore. After Hua Xiqian finished speaking, the audience laughed and applauded spontaneously. The female lead also laughed. President Hua is so humorous. President Hua, what do you think about GK's recent financial crisis? I heard that the wife of GK's president is your sister. With this close relationship, I wonder if you and the Hua Corporation will help? Chapter 1459. Well, how should I put it? After all, I'm not a philanthropist and have no obligation to help others. It's not a small sum of money, but if my little sister comes to me, I'll help her out for her sake. After all, we're family and we can't write the word Hua in one stroke. Huamin was furious upon seeing this. She gripped the remote control tightly. Hua Xiqian, I won't beg you even if I have nowhere else to go, you despicable bastard. A few days ago she returned the jade bracelet that Hua Xiqian gave her. It was said to be worth 8 million yuan, and Zhu Lingling even tried to persuade her to sell it for cash. However, Huamin thought about what Hua Xiqian did. Even if she sold it for cash, she still felt disgusted by the money. So she returned the bracelet. They hadn't seen each other in a few days, but now she saw him on TV. He even made such a hypocritical statement. She was furious. She was rarely this angry and most of the time she was calm. However, Hua Xiqian was so despicable this time. It was obvious that he was targeting Chin Chu. Therefore, she didn't want a birthday present from someone like him. People are saying that you and your wife, Song Yisher, have fallen apart, and that there's a third party involved. Is that true? It's just a rumor. My wife and I are very close. Hua Xiqian smiled again. If Song Yisher was watching the live broadcast, she would probably be furious. He was a person who could lie through his teeth. Then a while ago there was a photo of you and a pretty woman. The hostess paused for a second, waiting for Hua Xiqian's reaction. He wasn't angry and a smile remained on his face. She's an artist that my company is going to promote. I've been in contact with her in private. Oh, I see. Also, I heard that the runner-up and runner-up of the Star of GK both signed with your company, right? Yeah, they weren't happy with GK's offer and President Su of Imperial Star didn't want to take them, so I had to be the good guy and take them. Hua Xiqian pretended to be a good Samaritan. Huamin felt like vomiting. Big pervert Hua Xiqian. Hypocrite. Despicable. Wait until my husband gets through this. Let's see how I'll repay you when I have time. When that time comes, I'll definitely let you have a taste of being pushed into the teeth of the storm. Huamin wasn't good at scheming, but that didn't mean she didn't know how to scheme. She had such a high IQ. If she could calm down and think of ways to scheme against others, she would be very powerful. However, she had been preoccupied with her wedding with Chin Chu recently, so she really didn't have the time to deal with Hua Xiqian. When this matter was over, Huamin planned to teach that scumbag a lesson. Unfortunately, she didn't know how tragic the consequences of this incident would be. When Chin Chu came back from his meeting, he continued to work for a while. Then he saw that it was almost time for dinner. He held Huamin's hand. Honey, I'll take you to eat Japanese food. Do we still have money to eat Japanese food? How about spicy hot pot? Huamin's pitiful look was so adorable. For the first time, Chin Chu laughed heartily. What are you laughing at? Honey, how poor do you think your husband is? Spicy hot pot. Do I look like I'm spicy hot pot? You're spicy but not hot enough, Chin Chu. Huh, that's funny. Honey, I like your expression. Huamin leaned over and stole a kiss on Chin Chu's cheek. Yang accidentally saw the president and a young lady showing off their love again. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. How big were these two's hearts? During this critical period, shouldn't they be frowning? Just then Chinchu's cell phone rang. Rick, what's up? Come to Seductive Fox, let's talk when we meet. Rick had always been colder than Chinchu, so he always kept things short. Chapter 1460. Okay. Rick definitely didn't call Chinchu to talk nonsense. Chinchu drove Huamin to Seductive Fox. On the top floor of Seductive Fox, Huamin stopped in her tracks at the door. Honey, what's wrong? Chinchu tilted his head and looked at her. You can go in by yourself. It's not convenient for me to be around when you talk to Rick. Although Huamin had never asked Chinchu about Rick, with her intelligence, she was definitely able to guess what was going on. A man who opened the biggest nightclub at such a young age definitely had a powerful family background. Let's go in together. I don't hide anything from you, nor do I want to hide anything from you. This time, Chinchu didn't care about what Huamin thought. He pulled her hand and pushed the door open. Although Huamin didn't say anything, her heart felt warm. When a man trusted and loved a woman deeply, he would take her to see his most beloved family, best buddies, and most loyal friends. He didn't have any secrets or personal space. People who said that everyone had the right to their own personal space were mostly looking for a backup plan. The truth was, from Chinchu's point of view, Huamin was worth seeing anyone, going anywhere, and appearing at any event. There was no such thing as an inconvenience. Rick was wearing a white shirt and a black vest today. He had a special background and his eyes were always as blue as a lake. Everyone in the world knew that mixed-race people were good-looking. However, it was a little shocking to associate such a good-looking man with asshole. Rick wasn't surprised to see Huamin. He seemed to be used to Chinchu spoiling his wife. Have a seat. Chinchu and Huamin both sat in the back seat. The person beside them took the initiative to make 2 cups of tea and bring it over. Huamin was more knowledgeable. He could guess what it was just by smelling the fragrance. It's Mao Feng before the Qingming festival rain. Smells so good. Well, Rick was slightly stunned. He glanced at Huamin and said, I'll ask you to send some to her when we leave. Huamin waved his hand repeatedly. No need, no need. That would be too embarrassing. Don't worry. He's rich. We can take advantage of him. Chinchu reminded him with a smile. Rick. Huamin covered her mouth and snickered. Why are you looking for me? Tell me. Chinchu leaned back on the sofa looking very comfortable. Their relationship was different from Gao Ran's. Gao Ran was childhood friends so they could hurt each other. Although she didn't talk much with Rick, there was a lot of tacit understanding between the two men. It was a kind of silent friendship. Huamin raised his head and saw Rick take out a black gold card from behind him. He threw it on the coffee table in front of Chinchu. What? Money. How much? 3 billion. Chinchu's question was straightforward, so was Rick's answer. Where did you get so much money? My dad and brother sponsored a little. Huamin didn't say anything. Although 3 billion wasn't a lot, it was enough for the company to deal with an emergency. This Rick was very rich. He was just the owner of a nightclub, but he was the son of a rich landlord. You borrowed it from me? Yeah. Rick nodded. Can't you just lie to me and say that you don't need to pay me back? Chinchu teased him on purpose. 3 billion USD. Do you think I don't need to pay you back? Rick answered seriously. Huamin almost spat out the tea in his mouth. 3 billion? So it was USD. Oh my god. If it was converted to RMB, it would be more than 18 billion. He could directly pay off his debt and still have a lot left. Rick, this kid, really didn't reveal his wealth. He was too low-key. Huamin probably didn't know that Rick's family was a well-known mafia family in Europe and America. Not only did the family launder money and smuggle weapons, but they also controlled the drug trade over there and had a controlling stake in a famous international brand. It was very impressive. As for why Rick was sent to Sea City to open a nightclub and live out his days there, it was because she had a China complex and was friends with Chinchu. She was used to the climate here, and because this was her mother's hometown, she had a special relationship with this place. I don't need to pay interest, right? Chinchu rubbed his forehead and asked arrogantly. Chapter 1461. If you want to give it to me, I won't stop you. Don't worry, I won't give it to you. I won't be polite to a super rich person like you. Chinchu stood up and put the black card in his pocket without any hesitation. Huamin was dumbfounded. Let me know if it's not enough. Okay, thank Ian and Uncle for me. What about me? Rick raised his eyebrows. Why did Chin Chu only thank his brother and dad? Most of the money came from his own private stash. You don't have to thank me, we're so close. Chin Chu smiled. Huamin watched on the side happily. When his husband was scheming, it was really infuriating. An innocent young master like Rick was no match for him. Mr. Chin was always teasing him. As they chatted, the door was suddenly pushed open. A young girl rushed into the room in a huff. Without thinking, she threw herself into Rick's arms. How many times do I have to tell you? Why are you still so impulsive? Rick scolded her gently and lovingly. I'm just worried that we won't make it. The movie is about to start, let's go. Otherwise we won't be able to see what's going on. Are there any good movies lately? Huamin asked curiously. Only then did the girl notice that there were other people in the room. Hey? Huamin, you guys are here? The girl smiled slightly. Hi Cici, Huamin greeted her with a smile. Let's go together, it's a really good movie. Cici was very enthusiastic. Every time he saw her she was as passionate as fire. She and Rick were two completely different people. Huamin thought that maybe that was why they were attracted to each other. What movie? Cici? Huamin couldn't help but ask. The new big head son and the little head father, Cici answered happily. Huamin, Chin Chu, Rick, you have good taste now. Chin Chu smiled at Rick. She really couldn't imagine what it would be like for a person like Rick to watch cartoons. Rick. I don't really like this cartoon. Maybe next time. My husband and I still have things to do, so we'll leave first. As he spoke, Huamin nudged Chin Chu's arm. Chin Chu stood up. We'll be leaving first. Rick nodded. When the two of them walked to the door, they heard the girl inside say, I won't recognize you if you put on a vest, you little brat. Huamin couldn't help but burst into laughter. Is it that funny? Chin Chu was stunned by Huamin's devilish laughter. Yes, absolutely. Cici is so cute, huh? Is this what love is? Before Chin Chu could finish, Cici interrupted him. Huamin shamelessly continued. Everything has its vanquisher. Hey Mrs. Chin, you win. You're welcome, Mr. Chin. Should we go back to the company and start paying off our debts? Huamin knew that with Rick's large sum of money, the company would definitely be able to solve their immediate problems. Thinking about how their wedding was in less than a week, they were really excited. What was the saying again? Wait until the clouds parted to see the moon. It really was. Huamin hummed a little tune as he sat in the passenger seat in a very good mood. When the two of them returned to the company, Chin Chu went straight into the conference room for a meeting. That afternoon, GK's stock market began to recover. Many shareholders who almost vomited blood from their losses began to see their money recover. Therefore, everyone was no longer as angry as before. On a well-known financial newspaper, there was a banner headline. Young business tycoon saves stock market, GK's stock market begins to recover. That afternoon, when the market closed, Chin Chu was very satisfied with the initial data. At this rate, he would be able to pay off all his debt in a week, and the stock market would return to normal. Hua Corporation headquarters Huasiqian looked at the stock market on his computer and laughed in disdain. I just want you to back off. Isn't it better to just let go? Why do you always have to force me to use my trump card? That night, a post was posted on a forum and spread like wildfire. Chapter 1462. Someone claiming to be a police officer revealed that GK's vice president, Su Changji, had been detained by the Independent Commission Against Corruption. No one was surprised that he was formally charged by the Independent Commission Against Corruption for corruption, bribery, fraud, and money laundering. What was surprising was that when Su Changji gave his first statement, he said that he was ordered by GK's president, Chin Chu, to do all of this. The person claiming to be a police officer also posted a recording of Su Changji's statement. Although it was only a few seconds, it was indeed his voice. He said, "Everything I did today was ordered by President Chin." Then the police-like person asked, "Which President Chin?" He said, "Little President Chin." Little President Chin unintentionally said Chin Chu. As soon as he said this, it immediately caused an uproar. If this incident really had something to do with Chin Chu and he was convicted, then Chin Chu would face jail time. At the first hospital, some busybody at the company sent this news to Chin Yuman's phone. The old man rarely watched the news these days and he basically didn't watch TV anymore. He spent most of his time recuperating. He kept his phone so that he could occasionally play chess, but he didn't expect to see this kind of news. At the time he was so angry that his entire body shook. This old Sue? I've treated him well all these years, how could he slander me like this? Chu only came back for a little over a year, how could he order him to do so many things? I knew that he used GK's money to buy a house in the States, and I tacitly agreed to it. Why would he harm my son like this? Old Chin, calm down, speak slowly. Lady Chin was so scared that her face turned pale. No, I have to ask him why he's slandering me. I also have to find the reporters. I have to tell them that old Sue is making things up. Chu isn't that kind of person. Chin Yuman was so agitated that his vision turned black, and he immediately fainted on the hospital bed. Old Chin, don't scare me. Lady Chin was so scared that her hands shook. She immediately pressed the emergency button to call the doctors and nurses. Then she called Chin Chu and Huamin. 15 minutes later, Chin Chu and Huamin arrived at the hospital. Mom, how's Dad? Chin Chu anxiously asked. I don't know, he's still in the emergency room. Lady Chin secretly wiped her tears. Huamin gave her a tissue. Mom, Dad will be fine, don't cry, take care of yourself. The emergency room treatment for over an hour. When Dr. Lu came out of Chin Yuman seeing Chin Chu and Huamian, he said, if you don't make a decision now, it'll be too late. Discuss it tonight and give me an answer by tomorrow morning. We can't delay any longer. What does Dr. Lu mean? Mrs. Chin looked at her son and then at her daughter-in-law with a confused expression on her face. Chin. S Chin. Chin was Chin. Chin. Chin, as a brain surgeon, he knew his father's current condition all too well. He really didn't want to operate on him because most of the time he wouldn't be able to leave the operating table. Unlike Jing Zhixin, who had a blood clot from a car accident, his father, on the other hand, had a brain tumor. Once it was removed, it would spread and there would be no cure. It was better to use conservative treatment. But conservative treatment didn't seem to work. Mom, why is Dad like this all of a sudden? Wasn't he fine this morning? Huamin asked. I just saw a piece of news and that's it. What news? Chin Chu asked coldly. Lady Chin took out her phone and handed it to her son. Chin Chu's face darkened after he saw it. Bastard. The person who posted the news was an employee of GK, Su Changji's assistant. He was also a man and had been at GK for many years. I really don't know why he wants to court death like this. Chu Mian, are you two hiding something from me? What's wrong with your dad? Lady Chin finally felt that something was wrong. She was terrified by Dr. Lu's words and her son and daughter-in-law's expressions. Chapter 1463. Mom, it's nothing serious, don't worry. Huamin tried to comfort his mother-in-law. Mian, don't lie to me. I'm not stupid. I can tell from your and Chu's expressions. Your dad doesn't have cancer, does he? Lady Chin asked with a trembling voice, her face pale. Mom, I'm not sure yet. Dad has a tumor in his brain. I'm not sure if it's benign or malignant. He might need surgery, but the risks are high. Chin Chu explained word for word. Brain tumor? Mrs. Chin felt like she was about to stumble. She almost fell, but Huamin reacted quickly and held on to his mother-in-law. Mom, are you okay? Mom, don't be too sad, maybe Dad's tumor is benign. Chin Chu told a white lie. He's already so old, how can he afford to go through this? Can he survive a craniotomy? Your dad, he's never been in good health. Why does he have to deal with all kinds of diseases? Why doesn't it grow on me? Lady Chin cried her heart out. Huamin held on to her, feeling sad as well. Although her mother-in-law's mouth was unreasonable, she actually loved her father-in-law very much. Lady Chin was a beauty when she was young, and she and Chin Yuman were once an enviable couple. Now that she was old, she had to go through this kind of torment. Indeed, she couldn't take this blow right away. Mom, don't be sad, I won't let anything happen to Dad. Chin Chu was determined to operate on his father himself. Then, the chances of success would be much higher. This was a risky idea, and he didn't have time to discuss it with Huamin. At the hospital, Huamin and Chin Chu stayed with Lady Chin for a long time. In the end, the nanny helped Lady Chin home to rest. Huamin and Chin Chu stayed at the hospital to take care of Chin Yuman. Because it was a VIP room, the family members had extra rooms and beds to rest in. It was very clean and tidy. Honey, go to sleep, I'll take care of Dad. No, go to sleep, I'll take care of it. Let's not push and shove, you should go. There's a lot to take care of at the company tomorrow. The stock market is recovering, we can't relax. We also have to warn Huasiqian in case he tries something. Okay, that's good. In the end, Chin-Chu couldn't argue with Huamin and went to the suite next door. Huamian sat on the chair and watched the four drip for her father-in-law. From time to time she would pull up the corner of his blanket. During ward rounds, the doctors and nurses were full of praise for Huamian. Dr. Hua is so easy to take care of. People would think that she's the daughter of the Qin family. Her attitude towards her in-laws is, really, yeah, Dr. Hua's a man of few words, but he's very practical. I like him too. That's great, Chin-Chu likes Dr. Hua so much. If I were a man, I'd like him too. He's smart, sensible, and not pretentious. The nurses discussed amongst themselves. After midnight, Huamin was so tired that he laid on the table and took a nap. Hearing a sigh, Huamin slowly opened his eyes. Dad, you're awake? Huamin immediately stood up. Yeah. Qin Yuman's breathing was very weak. Dad, do you want some water? Are you hungry? Qin Yuman slowly shook his head. Myung, hey? Huamin turned around and responded. Sit down. Qin Yuman waved his hand with difficulty. Huamin poured a glass of warm water and placed it next to his father-in-law. Then he sat down on the chair next to him. Where's your mom and Chu? Mom, she's not feeling very well, so she went back to rest. Chin-Chu's in the room next door. He's been busy with work for the past few days, so I let him sleep first. Do you want me to wake him up? It's okay. I actually have something to talk to you about. Okay, go ahead. Huamin nodded respectfully as he looked at his father-in-law's haggard face. Chapter 1464. Huamian truly treated Huamian as her own family. Mian, my wife and I did so many wrong things in the past. I'm really grateful that you didn't hold it against us and stood by Chin-Chu's side. We're so ashamed of ourselves. We're so sorry for what we did to you, your mother, and your late stepfather. Dad, don't say that. Let bygones be bygones. I really don't blame you anymore, Huamin said honestly. I think this is karma. I've only done one wrong thing in my life and now it's my turn. I know about my condition, so you don't have to hide it from me. Dr. Lu already told me that I don't have much time left. No, Dad, you'll definitely get better. I know whether or not I'll get better. Don't try to comfort me. Maybe I'm just not lucky enough to see my future grandchildren. Qin Yuman said as tears welled up in his eyes. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Huamin lowered his head in guilt. He placed his hands on his knees. No, it's not your fault. I'm just not lucky enough. If one day I'm gone, I hope you can take good care of your mom for me. She's a bad person, but she's not a bad person. She's single-minded and likes to listen to people sowing discord. That's why she misunderstood you. If I'm gone, she'll be very sad. When the time comes, you guys should take her around. Chin-Chu didn't, so take her with you. Don't make her sad. Everyone dies one day and I'm already so old, I should be content with what I have. I've lived a life of luxury and I have a filial son and a daughter like you by my side. I can die without regrets. Dad? Huamian's voice was choked with sobs. It felt like the old man was saying his last words. I don't know about other things, but Chu really likes you. I hope that no matter what happens in the future, you won't let him down, okay? I won't. Don't give up on him. He's a man of few words and has a cold personality, but he cares about you the most. When I was young, when he first told me that he wanted to marry you, I thought it was just a ridiculous promise. 7 years later, he came back to China to get married to you. That son of mine is actually very similar to me in this aspect. He's stubborn, and once he's decided to do something, he'll do it for the rest of his life. When I was young, I encountered all kinds of temptations, but I was still unmoved because your mother was in my heart. I felt that she was betting her happiness on me, so I definitely couldn't let her lose. Huamin was crying so hard that he couldn't speak. Don't cry, kid. Everyone dies. I'm really fine. Qin Yuman smiled. Dad, we don't want you to leave. Chin-Chu and Mom can't live without you. Even without me, they still have to live on. If there is a next life, I still hope to be a family with all of you. If your children are born in the future, you must bring them to my grave and let me see them. Tell them that Grandpa loves them very much. Huamin burst into tears when he heard this. His cries grew louder and louder. At this moment in the room next door, Chin-Chu wasn't sleepy at all. He was also crying quietly. He had been using his phone to deal with company matters and hadn't slept at all. He accidentally overheard Huamin talking. Just as he was about to walk out, he overheard his father and Huamin's conversation. Then he felt like his heart was being torn apart. Dad was such a heavy title. He shouldered so much love and responsibility. Qin Chu didn't have a happy childhood like other children. Qin Yuman was very strict with him. However, after he grew up, he respected and trusted him. He handed GK directly to him. Now that his father was suddenly seriously ill, coupled with company matters, Qin Chu was a huge blow. His heart felt as if there was a huge rock pressing down on it. It was very heavy. Especially when he heard his father say those words to Huamin. It was as if he was saying his last words. Just then Qin Chu's father said, "Actually, there's still something I can't let go of." Chapter 1465. Dad, go ahead. Huamin wiped away his tears. I saw the news today. I only found out about the company's problems. Su Changji has been with me for many years. He's one of the founding members of the company. We're good friends, so it's normal for him to embezzle some of the company's assets. I also know that he bought a house in the States, but I didn't expect him to testify against Chu and frame him. I'm very disappointed, but I know Su Changji well. He's not so despicable as to push all the blame onto Chu to protect himself. So I suspect that he was threatened by someone. Mion, although you don't work at the company, you're very smart and have a high IQ. You have to investigate this thoroughly. You can't let Chu face the disaster of being imprisoned. Dad, don't worry about this. Qin Chu and I are already investigating. As far as I know, he was indeed threatened. Apparently, Su Changji's youngest daughter was kidnapped 3 days ago, but the Su family refused to call the police. This is enough to prove everything. I won't let anyone hurt Qin Chu. He's the most important person to me. I will protect him for the rest of my life. Thank you, Mion. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Qin Yuman was very happy. Dad, drink some water and rest. Huamin helped his father-in-law up to drink some water. Qin Chu leaned against the door of the adjacent room and didn't walk out. He didn't dare. He didn't want his father to see him cry. That would increase his father's psychological pressure. He just wanted to plan the surgery properly and do his best to make it as perfect as possible. The next morning, Lady Qin and the nanny came to take care of him, while Huamin and Qin Chu drove away. Huamin looked rather haggard, so Qin Chu drove her back to South Hill Manor. Honey, don't go to the company today. Get some rest. I'm worried. It's okay, be a good girl. The wedding candies and chocolates we ordered arrived today. You can ask them to pack them up at home and give them to the guests as gifts. Honey, let's postpone the wedding. Is it because of Dad's illness? Qin Chu knew Huamin better. Huamin nodded with a heavy heart. No need. The wedding will be held as usual. I will personally operate on Dad after the wedding. If you do it yourself, what are the chances of success? Huamin asked worriedly. To be honest, there's no chance of winning. Qin Chu lowered his head. Huamin's heart sank again. But I don't have a choice now. I have to give it a try. Yes, I believe that Dad will be fine. Heaven helps the worthy. Good girl, rest well and conserve your energy. You are the most beautiful bride. Qin Chu kissed Huamin on the lips and then drove to the company. Unexpectedly, at the entrance of the company, she saw Song Yisher, whom she had not seen for a long time. Qin Chu, what do you want? Qin Chu's attitude was still cold. Song Yisher was wearing a wine-red cashmere coat and carrying a white Dior bag. She was dressed very coquettishly, but no matter how pretty she was, Qin Chu didn't even look at her. I have something important to tell you. I don't have anything to say to you, Qin Chu said as he walked in. Song Yisher caught up to him. Qin Chu, it's really important. It concerns the safety of your company. You know, Qin Chu coldly glanced at Song Yisher's face. Huasiqian did all of this. He's the one behind all of this. Do you know why? Song Yisher asked word for word. Chapter 1466. Qin Chu didn't say anything, because that damn psycho likes Huamin. He likes him like crazy, did you know that? Song Yisher sounded as if she was announcing an important secret. Her voice was a little agitated. Qin Chu, on the other hand, remained calm. He had known for a long time that Huasiqian liked Huamin. Otherwise, he wouldn't have warned Huamian to ignore Huasiqian. Qin Chu never underestimated him. He always knew that Huasiqian was a dangerous person, so what? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows and asked coldly. He'll do anything to achieve his goal, did you know that? Huasiqian is a complete psychopath. He's crazy and has no bottom line. Normal people like us can't stand up to him because he's not even on the same level as us. Or to put it more bluntly, he's no longer human. Yes, Song Yisher had to tell Qin Chu how terrifying Huasiqian was. Everyone was fooled by his appearance and thought that he was the smiling and easygoing President Hua. But what if he wasn't? He wasn't President Hua at all. He was a bloodthirsty wolf with huge ambitions and desires. He would never give up until he achieved his goal. He didn't even care about human lives. You couldn't judge a person by right or wrong because he would never think that he was wrong. So, Qin Chu continued to interrogate her coldly. He already knew everything that Song Yisher said, and in fact he already knew. He didn't know why Song Yisher came to him with such great fanfare. Qin Chu was in a bad mood and didn't want to waste time with her. Just then, Song Yisher took a few steps closer and said in a low voice, Qin Chu, you have to kill him. Are you crazy? Qin Chu was truly shocked this time. He looked at Song Yisher in disbelief. She was a highly educated student. How could she have such crazy thoughts? How could she ask him to kill someone? Qin Chu thought that to deal with Huasiqian he only needed to make him suffer a crushing defeat. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine and use a more sophisticated method to bankrupt the Hua Corporation. Why did he have to kill someone? This was something that touched a person's three views and the bottom line of right. He couldn't do it. Even if he wanted to, Huamin wouldn't agree to it. Qin Chu, listen to me. If you don't do this, you won't be able to deal with him. He's really scary. I can guarantee that he has more tricks up his sleeve. Even if your company survives this crisis, he still has more tricks up his sleeve. Really, please believe me, I'm not trying to scare you, nor am I exaggerating. I know too well what kind of person Huasiqian is. After Song Yisher and Huasiqian got married, what she saw was basically intolerable. She only dared to come to Qin Chu because she made up her mind. If Huasiqian found out about this, he would probably teach her a lesson. Huasiqian was the kind of person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. If you did anything to him, he would immediately retaliate. Huasiqian couldn't compare to Qin Chu in this aspect. At least he was different and wasn't magnanimous. However, in Huasiqian's world, he didn't care if people called him petty or calculative. He said that he didn't care about anything. He didn't care how people looked at him or how they scolded him. He only wanted Huamin. This was his lifelong wish. But I can't kill him. I can just ruin his reputation. You can't be too ruthless. Qin Chu frowned slightly. He and Rick had already thought of a perfect plan. They would carry it out as soon as the wedding was over. When the time came, the whole corporation would collapse in the shortest time possible, and Huasiqian would have nothing left. This time he wouldn't let him go. He realized that if he didn't defeat him and beat him up badly, he would never let go of Huamin. It's useless. Really, believe me, as long as he's alive, he'll become a tumor. You have to kill him. Song Yisher tried her best to persuade him. Chapter 1467. That's enough, stop talking. You can leave now. I have my own way of dealing with Huasiqian. Qin Chu didn't want to listen to another word. However, he didn't know that although Song Yisher's words were extreme, they were actually correct. To deal with Huasiqian, extreme methods were necessary. This was why Qin Chu hated himself for being too kind. Why didn't he kill Huasiqian? If he didn't, the tragedy of being separated from Huamin wouldn't have happened. Qin Chu turned around and walked into the building. Song Yisher stood alone not too far behind him. She wanted to cry, but no tears came out. This time she really didn't say anything to Qin Chu. It was wishful thinking. Although she really wanted Qin Chu and Huamin to divorce. If that happened, she would still have a chance. However, compared to that, she wanted Qin Chu to kill Huasiqian, the psycho. She had a feeling that as long as Huasiqian was alive, she wouldn't have a good life. Moreover, she wasn't so simple that she would think that after Huasiqian divorced her, they would really go their separate ways. That was impossible because she already knew a lot about him. He had a lot of dirt on her, her father, and her uncle. If Huasiqian didn't die, he would use the power of the Song family to do a lot of bad things, right? Qin Chu, if you don't listen to me today, you will regret it. Song Yisher was so angry that she got into her white Audi Q5. Then she hesitated for 3 seconds. She took out her phone and said coldly, "Do it." Remember to do it cleanly. It's Miss Song. Don't worry, we were paid to do it. After hanging up the phone, Song Yisher suddenly felt a little guilty. This was her second plan. If Qin Chu didn't agree to kill Hua Xiqian, then she would do it herself. But would it succeed? If he succeeded, then everything would be fine. But if he failed and the matter was exposed, then Song Yisher didn't even dare to think about what would happen to her. At 12:30 p.m. that day, Hua Xiqian drove the Rolls-Royce Phantom out of the Hua Corporation's underground parking lot. Every day at this time he would go out for lunch on time. Hua Xiqian was very picky about what he ate. He would not eat in the office, nor would he order takeout, because he didn't trust anyone at all. Therefore she would buy her own groceries and go to the Hua family's private kitchen that she opened not far away. There was a worker he hired there. She was a mute woman in her 50s. No one knew where this person came from, but he had a very good relationship with Hua Xiqian. If she was not around, Hua Xiqian would cook for himself. Only when he was with Hua Min would he not have any doubts. This was because he knew that his Hua Mian was very kind and would not do something as low as poisoning someone. When Hua Xiqian drove a few meters out at noon, he saw a big truck rushing towards him. Looked like it wanted to kill him. He immediately turned the steering wheel to the right. At this time, a big truck was also coming from the right. It was a pincer attack. Fortunately, Hua Xiqian reacted quickly and immediately reversed the car. Luxury cars were indeed different. Their speed was also incomparable to normal cars. Hua Xiqian quickly reversed the car and wanted to go back to the garage. At this time, a black Land Rover came out of nowhere and crashed into Hua Xiqian's car. This was a three-way pincer attack. He really wanted to put him to death. Chapter 1468. Just as the cars were about to crash, Hua Xiqian quickly opened the car door and got out of the car. Then he personally watched as the three cars crashed into his Phantom, which was worth more than 30 million yuan. A deafening sound was heard. Then the drivers of the three cars fled in different directions. This scene is well designed, but such a simple and violent design doesn't seem like something Qin Chu would do. Hua Xiqian leaned against the wall of the office building and took out his phone. Get me the CCTV from just now. Find the three cars within an hour and then interrogate them. I want to know who planned the serial car accident. After speaking, Hua Xiqian hung up the phone. It was indeed a close call, but it wasn't like he had nowhere to run. So, there really was someone who wanted to kill him so badly? Unfortunately, Hua Xiqian looked up at the bright sun in the sky and smiled. Unfortunately, you won't be able to kill me. Song Yisher waited for a long time, but she didn't receive any calls from those people. She didn't know what happened. Just then she received a news alert on her phone. Breaking news: there was a three-car pileup in front of the Hua Corporation. A Rolls-Royce Fantasy was smashed beyond recognition. Apparently, it was the car of the president of the Hua Corporation. The employees of the Hua Corporation also confirmed that President Hua Xiqian was in the car when the accident happened. As for what happened to him, it's still unclear. The police have surrounded the scene and are investigating. 120 also arrived at the scene in time. We will continue to broadcast this report, so please stay tuned. When Song Yisher heard this, she was extremely excited. If the accident was so serious, then Hua Xiqian would be dead for sure. Song Yisher pretended to call Hua Xiqian. Sorry, the subscriber you have dialed is temporarily unavailable. Please try again later. Since the call couldn't go through, she was even more certain that something happened to Hua Xiqian. Song Yisher was so happy that she wanted to pop open a bottle of champagne to celebrate. She could do things that Qin Chu and Hua Min couldn't. If they didn't want to kill someone, she dared. Actually, Song Yisher and Hua Xiqian were the same. Sometimes they wouldn't care about sacrificing anything in order to achieve their goals. In order to complete her act, Song Yisher even drove to the headquarters of the Hua Corporation. At that time he was surrounded by the media as soon as he got out of the car. Mrs. Hua, how are you feeling right now? I'm very sad. I only hope that my husband is safe. Otherwise, how can I live on? Song Yisher said as she wiped her tears with a tissue. Her acting was so real that everyone was touched by her performance. Mrs. Hua, don't be sad. We are sad. President Hua will be fine. I also hope that he will be fine. He will be fine. Song Yisher continued to act. Headquarters of Imperial Star Su Yu smiled when he saw the live broadcast. Shaoan, President Su, Tell all the employees to stay after work tonight. I've arranged a party for everyone. What day is it today? President Sue? Shaom was also confused. It's a good day. Go. Suyu smiled. Wasn't it good that someone like Huo Xiqian got into a car accident? Suyu thought that this was fate. He deserved to end up like this. He didn't have to do it himself. That damn psycho, Huomin slept at home. When she woke up, her phone exploded with all kinds of messages. She opened it and saw that most of them were related to Huo Xiqian. Mian, did you see the news? Is Huo Xiqian really dead? Everyone is saying that he's dead because they haven't found him yet. I wonder if his body was destroyed. What a tragedy. Zhu Lingling asked excitedly. Chapter 1469. I did. That's great. Should we celebrate tonight? Zhu Lingling and the others hated Huo Xiqian to the core. They were overjoyed to hear the news. I don't think things are that simple. What do you mean? You don't believe me? It's not that I don't believe you, I just don't think something like this would happen to someone as cautious as him. Didn't you say that we don't even know if he's in the car? The media is exaggerating. It could be a smokescreen. Huomin was relatively calm. She had a feeling that Huo Xiqian wouldn't die so easily. He was so good at scheming, how could he die so easily? It didn't make sense. If he could die from an accident like this, then wouldn't he have died thousands of times? He had too many enemies, you're right. But who cares, I'm happy to hear the news. Do you want to have dinner together? No, my father-in-law's condition hasn't been stable lately. Qin Chu and I are at the company during the day and the hospital at night. Damn it, wouldn't you be exhausted? Even if you were made of iron, you wouldn't be able to do it. It's okay, he's our family. It doesn't matter if we're tired or not. The most important thing is that he gets better. Last night, Qin Yuman's words made Huomin, who had always been calm and collected, burst into tears. Although she kept reassuring herself that her father-in-law would be fine in her heart. But she knew that she was just lying to herself. How could a surgery that even Qin Chu wasn't sure about succeed? It would be very difficult, right? Even if it succeeded, would it? Who could guarantee that the cancer cells wouldn't spread? She took a deep breath. Huomin listlessly changed and went downstairs. Sun Wan hadn't come to the north in March yet, and the cold wind was still blowing. Huomian put on a black cotton-padded jacket and drove straight to the company. GK headquarters, Qin Chu assigned a lot of work to do in the morning. Now that GK was back to normal, Huo Xiqian's tricks were no longer effective. Since this morning, more than a dozen real estate developers had already restored the original price amidst a wave of criticism. Because they couldn't afford it. If it weren't for the fact that Huo Xiqian had threatened them, they wouldn't have done something that would harm others without benefiting themselves. Seeing that they had all returned to their original prices, the market returned to normal, and GK also announced that they would return to their original prices. A real estate battle ended just like that. Qin Chu calculated that there were still a few more days before he could return the money to the Rick family. Fortunately, there was no danger this time. Tens of billions of yuan instantly shrank and bounced back in an instant. That excitement wasn't just about uncles and aunts. At noon, everyone was talking about Huo Xiqian's car accident. Yang couldn't help but gossip. Boss, don't you think this is called retribution? Retribution sure comes fast. That bastard Huo Xiqian should be knocked to death. Who said he's dead? Qin Chu asked calmly. Didn't the media say? The media only reported on the car accident. They didn't say if he was in the car or if he was dead or seriously injured. So, let's not spread rumors. You don't believe me. For someone like Huo Xiqian, I'll only believe that he's dead when I see his corpse. Yes, Qin Chu and Huomin both didn't believe that Huo Xiqian would die so easily. However, Qin Chu thought back to the car accident and realized that it was indeed set up. It couldn't have been so coincidental that 3 cars simultaneously attacked Huo Xiqian at the same time. In the morning, Song Yisher came to him and told him about her terrifying idea, and at noon something happened. Was this really a coincidence, or did Song Yisher do something? Qin Chu kept thinking about these things. Honey, Huomin pushed open the door and walked in with his bag. Chapter 1470. Have you eaten yet? Honey. No, let's go eat ramen, okay? Okay, Qin Chu nodded and said. Then he drove Huomin to Oxian's ramen. Honey, do you believe that Huo Xiqian is dead? What about you? Chin Chu took a bite of his ramen and asked. I don't believe it. I think he might have set this up himself. Maybe he's up to no good again. Yeah, I don't believe it either. A person like him wouldn't die from a car accident. But I have a feeling that Huasiqian might be plotting something else. Yes, Chin Chu wasn't a person who relied on his feelings. But lately his heart had been beating really fast. He was even panicking. He felt like something bad was going to happen. In less than a week he and Huamin's wedding would be held. He really hoped that everything would go smoothly. The media had been reporting on Huasiqian's incident. However, no one had seen Huasiqian in person. Even the hospital was surrounded by reporters. But there were no clues. It was as if he had disappeared from the face of the earth. That night Song Yisha drove back to Huasiqian's private mansion. She wanted to take the last of her personal belongings with her. Then she would find an opportunity to file for divorce. She had had enough of living in fear. When she arrived home the entire mansion was pitch black, which meant that no one was home. Only she and Huasiqian had the keys. They didn't even hire a housekeeper. The two of them didn't even live here. It was just a formality when they got married. Just as she finished packing and was about to head downstairs from the second floor to the first floor, she suddenly stopped in her tracks, because she saw someone standing at the top of the stairs on the first floor. She wasn't that scared at first, but while she was in a daze, that person flicked the lighter in his hand and the light instantly illuminated his face. Song Yisha was scared out of her wits. Oh! She screamed, turned around and ran upstairs. Huasiqian chased after her and grabbed Song Yisha's hair. He forcefully dragged her a few steps back. Bitch, what are you afraid of? Did you think you saw a ghost? Why are you here? Song Yisha's voice was filled with fear. What? You think I'm dead? No, but the media said that you died in a car accident. Song Yisha had lost the ability to think because everything had happened too suddenly. She really thought that Huasiqian was dead. Therefore he did not have the sense of crisis like Chin Chu and Huamin. You wish for me to die. What a pity. I haven't lived long enough. How can I bear to die? After that Huasiqian grabbed Song Yisha's hair and dragged her downstairs. Her entire body was covered in bruises. He did not go easy on her at all. He did not show her any mercy even though she begged. Please let go of me. It really hurts. When Huasiqian reached downstairs he grabbed both of her hands with one hand and pulled out his belt with the other. He tied her hands together. What are you doing? What am I doing? Don't you know? Do you think I don't know your little tricks? Huasiqian's voice was cold. What tricks? I don't know what you're talking about. Song Yisha tried her best to cover it up. Very well, you're playing dumb with me. Let me remind you, do you know why you haven't received any replies from those people? Song Yisha widened her eyes and did not say anything. She only looked at Huasiqian's beast-like eyes in fear. Because they're dead. Do you want to see them? What do you want? I'm warning you, if you kill me my dad won't let you go. Song Yisha knew that Huasiqian already knew about her plan. Would he want to kill her? Chapter 1471. At this moment she was really scared. She had never felt so close to death. She knew that Huasiqian was capable of doing anything. Huasiqian chuckled softly. His chuckle sent chills down her spine. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at you. You're so stupid. Do you think I'm trying to kill you? You're wrong, killing is illegal. Plus it won't be fun if you're dead. Then Huasiqian took out the yellow tape that he always carried with him and wrapped it around Song Yisha's feet. He wrapped it around and around, leaving a gap in the middle. Huasiqian, you're a bastard, you're a psycho. Go ahead, I like it. I'm a psycho anyway. Help, someone help. Song Yisha screamed at the top of her lungs. My dear Shershur, you seem to have forgotten that our house is soundproof. Even if you scream yourself hoarse, no one outside will be able to hear you. Song Yisha's heart sank when she heard what he said. Tears fell from her eyes. Huasiqian, I'm begging you, I won't do it again. Please let me go. If I let you go, who will let me go? Huasiqian said as he reached out and gently caressed Song Yisha's beautiful face. You really want me to die, don't you? Song Yisha cried and shook her head desperately. Baby, you're lying again. I really don't like it when you're like this. Then Huasiqian took out a palm-sized wallpaper cutter from his tools. Song Yisha felt like all the blood in her body had frozen. Huasiqian, what are you doing? I'm going to scratch your face first. How about that? Huasiqian waved the wallpaper cutter in front of her. Song Yisha was so scared that all the blood drained from her face. Please don't. I know I'm wrong. Song Yisha was so scared that she couldn't stop crying. You really overestimate yourself. Do you think you're good looking? You seem to care a lot about your face. I feel disgusted when I see your face. I think Chinchu is the same as me. Song Yisha could only cry and shake her head. Do you know why Chinchu doesn't like you, why Suyu doesn't like you, and why I don't like you? Song Yisha didn't respond. Huasiqian placed the paper knife against Song Yisha's face and slid it all the way down. Because you're cheap. Do you know why they all like Huamin? Because she's not cheap. Song Yisha trembled as she replied. Hot, of course not. Chinchu likes Huamin because he's used to it. It's like he's used to something and can't bear to change it. Suyu likes Huamin because he can't get her, so he wants her even more. I'm the only one who truly likes Huamin. I like her no matter what she does, whether it's her smile, her anger, her rage, or even the way she sleeps. That's why they don't deserve her. In this world, I'm the only one who truly loves Huamin. I don't ask for anything in return and I don't have any ulterior motives. Huasiqian, are you crazy? Chinchu loves Huamin so much. How can you say that he doesn't love her? Song Yisha couldn't agree with this point of view. She had been jealous of Huamin many times in the past. It was because Huamin was loved by Chinchu. If Chinchu didn't love Huamin, then it would be the biggest joke in the world. What do you know? Chinchu loves Huamian selfishly. He married her because she's a genius. It's been like this since high school. Chinchu is too scheming. He schemed to get Huamian so that he can use her to help his career. They're both selfish. I won't let them get away with it. So you'll ruin their wedding? Song Yisha asked. No, I won't ruin their wedding because they won't even have a chance to hold their wedding. Within 3 days I'll divorce them. Huasiqian smiled proudly. After I deal with Chinchu, I'll let Huamian go back to the Hua family, Huasiqian added. Song Yisha looked at Huasiqian and suddenly felt like she was looking at a serious mental patient. It was too scary. It's possible that they can't hold their wedding, but it's impossible for them to get a divorce, Song Yisha vowed. She felt like it was almost impossible for Chinchu and Huamian to get a divorce. Chapter 1472. I'll let you see it. Huasiqian smiled again. Then his hand stopped at Song Yisha's shoulder. The yellow tape was very tight and there were white bumps in between the 2 strips of tape. Huasiqian took the sharp wallpaper knife and gently cut her arm. Immediately, a clear line of blood appeared. Song Yisha let out a muffled groan. Although it wasn't particularly painful, it was really... the feeling was indescribable. She thought that this was the end, then she was wrong. Because what Huasiqian did next completely drove Song Yisha crazy. Huasiqian cut all over her body, except for her exposed skin. Song Yisha was instantly covered in wounds. There were so many small cuts all over her body and they hurt. Huasiqian, you pervert. Song Yisha cursed angrily. Yeah, I am a pervert. Huasiqian looked at Song Yisha with his extremely innocent eyes. She was about to go crazy from anger. But even then the torture wasn't over. Huasiqian didn't soften at all as he watched Song Yisha's wounds continue to bleed. I've bled so much. Will I die? Sob sob, are you scared now? What were you thinking when you set me up? Actually, you're quite a cruel woman. I admire your poisonous heart, because we're the same kind. Who's the same kind as you? You're a big pervert, do you know that? Song Yisha knew that no matter how much she begged, Huasiqian wouldn't let her go. So she might as well curse him to her heart's content. Huasiqian calmly walked into the kitchen and took out a bag of seaweed salt. What are you doing? Song Yisha's heart was filled with fear. Huasiqian was too lazy to talk. He opened the bag, grabbed a handful of salt and smeared it all over Song Yisha's wounds. Ah, she screamed like a pig being slaughtered. The wounds that didn't hurt that much were now excruciatingly painful. Before Song Yisha could finish screaming, Huasiqian continued to smear the salt all over Song Yisha's body. That feeling was worse than death. Only now did Song Yisha realize how scary it was to offend Huasiqian. At the same time she hated Chinchu. If Chinchu and Huamin did this, they would have killed Huasiqian. But why didn't they kill Hua? Why did they have to pretend to be saints? By the time he finished torturing Song Yisha, it was already late at night. Huasiqian immediately drove away. He left Song Yisha alone in the cold mansion. An hour later, Huasiqian's subordinates sent her to the hospital. However, she didn't dare to say anything. If this matter was exposed, the consequences would be even worse. This time, she learned her lesson. The next morning, Qin Chu and Huamin were at the hospital accompanying Qin Yuman for conservative treatment. Qin Chu's phone rang. He looked at the caller ID and hesitated. What's wrong? This was the first time that Huamin saw a call that Qin Chu didn't want to answer. I'm going out to take a call. For the first time, Qin Chu didn't answer the call in front of Huamin. Huamin almost thought that her husband was having a mistress. You little brat, why are you being so secretive about a phone call? Qin Yuman scolded. It's fine, Dad. It might be work, so it's not convenient. Huamin understood Qin Chu very well. Qin Chu walked out of the room and picked up the phone. His voice was frighteningly cold. What do you want? Qin Chu, let's meet. Why should I meet you? Qin Chu hated Huasiqian very much. He didn't want to meet him at all. Haven't you always wanted to know about Huamin's background? Come, I'll tell you everything I know. Qin Chu remained silent after hearing this. Chapter 1473. 4:30 p.m. today, Tianhai Road, Duoqin Bay. Before Qin Chu could respond, Huasiqian hung up the phone. When Qin Chu walked back into the room, his expression didn't look right. Huamin put his father-in-law on an and covered him with a blanket. Then he quietly pulled Qin Chu aside. What's wrong? Who called just now? A client, Mr. Qin replied calmly. That's impossible. What client could make you so angry? Was it Huasiqian? No, Qin Chu felt guilty. Was it really a good thing to have such a smart wife? His heart felt tired. He was afraid of being exposed even when he was lying. Then who was it? You don't know him. There's someone I don't know? Don't tell me he has a girlfriend? No, Mr. Qin said with a straight face. No fun. You're so serious even when I'm joking with you. You're so unromantic. Qin Chu was speechless. Was he really joking? Why did Qin Chu feel like he was extorting a confession? After Qin Chu went to the company, Huamin went to Jiang Shaowei's house. Ever since the Jiang family found out the gender of the fetus, they treated Shaowei like she was their ancestor. She said she wanted to eat fish from the East China Sea, not from the South China Sea. She said she wanted to eat wild mountain forest, not Korean ginseng. In short, aside from the restrictions on her freedom, Jiang Shaowei's words were like an imperial edict. This also made her very easily irritated. In the end, Wei Liao had no choice but to call Zhu Lingling and Huamin and ask them to keep her company. Su Changji's case hadn't been solved yet, and apparently the Independent Commission Against Corruption had their eyes on Qin Chu. At such a sensitive time, Huasiqian called and asked for a meeting. Qin Chu had a feeling that it wasn't anything good, but it didn't seem like a trap. After all, it was broad daylight and they were on a beach. What kind of risk could there be? That afternoon, Qin Chu drove a low-key black Audi A8L to Duoqin Bay. It was the most beautiful beach by the sea and was one of GK's properties. Huasiqian had set the meeting place at Qin Chu's place. This method was really arrogant. This made Qin Chu very, very unhappy. Qin Chu, who was wearing a black cashmere coat, walked towards the beach like a gentleman. The beach in March was very cold and there was basically no one there. When the waves came crashing over, they felt like they were about to freeze to death. It was past 4 in the afternoon and the sun was about to set. The scenery by the sea was not beautiful. It just made people feel a little sad. Huasiqian was still wearing his flamboyant pink suit. He arrived 2 minutes earlier than Qin Chu. When Qin Chu arrived, he was looking into the distance alone. You're here? Huasiqian was the first to speak. Qin Chu didn't say anything. Look. The sunset is beautiful, right? The sunset is infinitely beautiful, but dusk is coming. Qin Chu, you've been glorious for so long and your dusk is coming soon. What do you mean? Qin Chu looked coldly at Huasiqian. I mean, your era is coming to an end. Huh? Did you forget to bring your medicine? Qin Chu thought that Huasiqian was a little narcissistic. He didn't even do anything yet, but he was already thinking nonsense. Trust me, I will fulfill my promise. I don't have time to listen to your crazy words. My time is precious. You better make it short. Also, if you think that you can defeat me by allying with those old guys at real estate and using Su Changji to threaten me, then you're too naive. Qin Chu had already turned the tables. And he didn't care about Huasiqian's despicable methods at all. He wasn't afraid of him. It was only because his father was sick that he didn't have time to deal with him. You're wrong. I didn't expect to defeat you with these. These are just appetizers. There's more to come. What are you up to now? Qin Chu stared at Huasiqian. Cancel the wedding on the 28th. Are you kidding me? Qin Chu sneered. I want to see you guys get a divorce. Huasiqian, what the fuck are you talking about? Qin Chu was normally a good-tempered person, but Huasiqian forced him to swear. It was obvious how angry Mr. Qin was right now. Cancel the wedding? Divorce? These were things that he couldn't accept. Chapter 1474. Faced with Qin Chu's mockery, Huasiqian didn't get angry. Instead he laughed. He turned to look at the sea and the setting sun in the distance and slowly said, "You know, I like her a lot." Qin Chu didn't reply. Instead he looked at him with an indifferent gaze. You must be curious why I liked her so long ago but never confessed, right? Huasiqian asked. Qin Chu said coldly, I am indeed curious. I liked her many years ago. Back then she was only a 10-year-old child. I met her before you, much earlier than you. But she liked you and that pissed me off. But I couldn't do anything about it. Back then I was living like a dog in the Hua family. Haha, you know that stud Hua Zhenghai was looking for women everywhere and that bitch Xinjiani was cheating on him, but she had to pretend to be loyal and scheming. Those two idiots Hua Yanyan and Hua Si always thought that they were the legitimate ones and acted all high and mighty. My perverted foster mother, on the other hand, still liked to play SM. She would always strip me naked in the middle of the night and whip me. Even if I was covered in wounds, no one would care. Because to the Hua family I was just a dog. How could I confess to Hua Mian like that? After saying this, Huasiqian laughed to himself. Qin Chu, on the other hand, was a little shocked. He always knew that Huasiqian didn't have a good life in a family like the Hua family when he was young. However, he didn't expect it to be this bad. No wonder his entire aura was so strange. It turned out that this freak was a product of the Hua family. This also proved why he hated everyone in the Hua family so much. I endured all the humiliation and survived until now. Wasn't it so that I could turn things around one day? Now that I've done it, it's time for me to take back what I lost. Qin Chu knew that the thing he was talking about was Hua Min. You didn't lose it because it wasn't yours to begin with. So what if you met her earlier than me? The order of appearance in life is very important. What do you think a 10-year-old girl would know? Even if you confessed, Mian wouldn't like you. That might not be the case. Don't be so sure. We can't turn back time, so we can't find out what would have happened if I had confessed first. I don't want to find out either. I just want to be with her for the rest of my life. To me, she's the only ray of sunshine in my dark life and the only thing I can think of. She's my life. If you take away my life, do you think I can still live? Qin Chu was slightly annoyed. That's not for me to worry about. I don't care what other people think and I don't care if they're happy or not. I only care about myself. As long as I'm happy, that's enough. Mian will be happy too. She'll hate you to death, Qin Chu corrected him. No, life is still long. One day Mian will understand me and my love for her. Cut the crap, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. Aren't you going to tell me about Mian's background? Qin Chu was losing his patience. He didn't want to argue with a lunatic about who liked Hua Min first and who truly loved Hua Min. Because it was meaningless. Hua Min was his woman and no one could say anything about it. This was the undeniable truth. Huasiqian tossed over a brown paper bag that he had been carrying. It's all here, take a look. Qin Chu couldn't wait to open it and read the words, photos and all kinds of data on each page. After reading it, he was truly shocked. He was speechless for a long time. He had guessed that Mian's family was special, but he didn't expect it to be like this. It was really unexpected. Is it fun? And now you know why she's so talented, right? It's because everyone in her family is insanely smart. Mian's sister is the most troublesome. She's famous all over the world and is the most wanted criminal in Interpol. And her father is a headache for the National Security Bureau of America. Huasiqian didn't continue. Qin Chu's hand that was holding the brown paper bag began to tremble slightly. Chapter 1475. I can't believe that Mian is. What's so surprising about that? Huasiqian smiled proudly. When did you find out about this? A long time ago. So, the people in Dongtao town who tried to stop me from investigating her background were your people? Qin Chu had been investigating Huamin's background for a long time, but he was never able to find out. Someone must have been behind it. Huasiqian nodded. Some but not all. Who else? Qin Chu frowned slightly. Mion's father. Her father. Yeah, her biological father. But why did he do that? Shouldn't he be in a hurry to find his biological daughter? Doesn't he want to see his daughter? Why did he stop it? Qin Chu couldn't imagine why her biological father would stop his daughter from investigating her background. That's because, take a look at this first. It's not something that can be explained in a few sentences. Huasiqian took out the last piece of paper from his pocket and handed it to Huasiqian. Qin Chu took it and looked at it slowly. His face turned pale. Mion's family misses her a lot, but because of this they don't dare to see her. Her sister came to see City once and even went to Southside to see her. She used a special method, but Mion probably still doesn't know about it. Once her identity is exposed, she'll be in great danger. You spent 7 years in the States, so I don't need to tell you how powerful this organization is. I'm not trying to scare you, but if people find out about Mion's relationship with her father and sister, she'll be forever. Stop talking. Qin Chu roared, interrupting Huasiqian. So you should know that Mion's family can recognize each other, but they can't. Qin Chu fell silent again. No wonder Huasiqian told him to stop investigating because there wouldn't be any results. Even someone as powerful as Rick would face many obstacles when investigating this matter. It turned out that this was a big deal. No wonder her family didn't look for their daughter even though they knew she was swapped. It seemed like Mion's father really loved his daughter. He was just using another method to protect her and show his fatherly love. Seeing Qin Chu's silence, Huasiqian smiled and said, "There's one more thing you might not know." What? Jingda's death. In fact, your parents were used as bait. What do you mean? Hearing the cause of Huamin's stepfather's death, Qin Chu raised his head abruptly. Jingda isn't that simple. You were all fooled by him. He knew all along that Mion's identity was swapped because he did it himself. He did it because Yang Meirong's baby was stillborn. Jingda still had feelings for Yang Meirong and was worried that she would be heartbroken, so he worked with Dr. Lan from Dongtao Hospital to swap the baby. At the time, Huamin's parents were being hunted and had to take refuge in Dongtao Hospital. Coincidentally, Mion's mother took Huamin in that hospital, so Jingda swapped the baby and lied to her parents that their baby was dead. Mion's parents thought something was wrong, but they were being hunted down and didn't have time to investigate in the hospital. When they came back after leaving the country, Dr. Lan was gone. At that time, the organization had already started investigating, and Huamin's father arranged for an informant in Dongtao town to keep quiet about it. Later, Jingda somehow found out about this and wanted to make a fortune. He wanted to leak Huamin's identity. Before they could negotiate a price, Mion's father got involved and killed Jingda. That's good, it saves me the trouble of killing him. You're saying, Jingda betrayed Mion? Then he was killed by Mion's father's men? The plot twist was so fast that Qin Chu couldn't believe it. Chapter 1476. Yeah. Your parents were just scapegoats. They felt guilty for so many years, huh? So my driver, the one who killed Jingda, works for Mion's father? Qin Chu was completely confused. Back then, Mion had abandoned him because of this. The thing that had troubled them for 7 years turned out to be a conspiracy. It was Mion's biological father who set it up. He couldn't accept it. But was Jingda really that kind of person? Didn't he love Huamin? You can think of it that way. But I'm not sure if Mion's father paid off your driver or if they were really friends. So, Mion's father is really a powerful man. He has a lot of influence internationally and has a good relationship with the leaders of many countries. Unfortunately, because of that incident and that organization, he had to protect his daughter. After all, he didn't want his daughter to live such a bloody life. Her sister's life wasn't easy either. I see. Qin Chu finally understood why he felt that the forces in Dongtao town were weird when he went there to investigate. It turned out that there were 2 forces. No, there were 3 forces. There was also a group of vicious people looking for Huamin. You know what? In your eyes, you might think that I'm an extremely evil person who can do anything. Aren't you? Qin Chu asked coldly. I am, but compared to those people, I'm nothing. Those people are the real desperados. If they catch Mion, there won't be anything left of her. So, Mion's identity must be kept a secret. Will you keep her a secret? Qin Chu would definitely keep Huamin's identity a secret because Huamin's life depended on it. But would Huasiqian? She liked Huamin, but, of course I can, but you have to divorce her first. That's impossible, Qin Chu immediately rejected. I want you two to divorce within 24 hours or else. I will announce Mion's identity to the world. You want her to die? Qin Chu scowled. No, I want her to live more than anyone else. But if she lives and wants to be with you, no, I don't want to see that. So I'd rather she die than let her be with you. Huasiqian, you are really vicious. Qin Chu had never hated someone so much. For the first time he hated Huasiqian from the bottom of his heart. He used Huamin's life to threaten him. Thank you for the compliment. I've always been like this. Huasiqian continued to smile. That expression was as annoying as it could get. Why should I believe you? How do I know you didn't make these stories up? Qin Chu suppressed the anger in his heart and questioned Huasiqian. You can choose not to believe me. You can investigate it yourself. But your time is limited. I said I'll only give you 24 hours. You can take the risk and hold your wedding with Mion. Let's see if those people will show up at your wedding after I announce the news in advance. Huasiqian had been speaking casually, but every word he said was like a knife stabbing into Qin Chu's body. At this moment Qin Chu was infuriated. He suddenly took out a gun from his pocket and aimed it at Huasiqian's head. Because they were very close, once he fired, it would be a one-shot kill. Shoot me. If I die, 24 hours later Mion's identity will be announced. One of the terms of my will is that if I die, no matter how I die, my lawyer will help me send Mion's identity directly to the headquarters of those people. Huasiqian, you're fucking crazy. Qin Chu didn't expect him to be so ruthless. Chapter 1477. If I die, Mion dies too. How happy would that be? We can keep each other company on the road to the afterlife. In your dreams. Even if you die, you won't have her. Qin Chu pressed the gun to Huasiqian's head. Then he gently pulled the trigger. He really wanted to kill this psycho with one shot, but he couldn't take the risk. He had heard of that organization many times in the States. Everyone was terrified by their name. Even powerful people like Huamin's father and Huamin's sister couldn't deal with them. Let alone someone as weak as Huamin. They weren't even on the same level. Huasiqian's expression was relaxed from beginning to end because he knew Qin Chu wouldn't shoot him. Either you kill me and I die and Mion dies. Or you go back to your life and wait for me to announce Mion's death. Or you divorce her and leave her. I'll keep this secret for the rest of my life and we'll live in peace. Qin Chu, you're a smart man, I know what you'll choose. After Huasiqian finished speaking, Qin Chu smashed the gun into Huasiqian's left cheek. His left cheek immediately began to swell up. I'm going to fucking kill you, you animal. Qin Chu punched him again. Huasiqian didn't even fight back. He knew that Qin Chu would react like this. Normal people couldn't take this kind of provocation, let alone someone as cold as Qin Chu. If you're done, go home and think. You don't have much time left. You only have 23 hours, 58 minutes and 30 seconds left. Qin Chu stopped punching him and put away his gun. Qin Chu turned around and left. I'll be waiting for your good news. Huasiqian shouted arrogantly behind him and then he laughed out loud. He knew that Qin Chu would definitely do that. After Qin Chu got in the car, he sped all the way. Then he found a quiet place and burned all the things in the craft paper bag. He knew that it was useless because Huasiqian had a lot of backups. Once Mion's identity was made public, she could reunite with her father and sister, but she would enter another world. At that time he would no longer have such a peaceful life. He didn't want Mion to live like that at all. That was why Mion's biological father had never looked for her, even though he loved her very much. In fact, which father wouldn't love his daughter? She could see news about Huamin in the newspapers and on TV every time. They would all feel very happy. It was already 6:30 p.m. when Qin Chu drove back to South Hill Manor. Honey, you came back just in time. We can eat now. I asked the kitchen to make rose buns. They're delicious. I also made hot and sour soup, and sea fish. They're all your favorites. You've been too tired recently. You need to nourish yourself. Qin Chu was a little listless. No matter how excited Huamin was, he remained expressionless. Honey, what's wrong? What happened at the company? Haven't you solved it yet? It's solved. Is it because the ICAC is investigating you? Did Su Changji smear your reputation again? No. Is it because of Dad's illness? I believe that with you as the surgeon, Dad will recover, Huamin comforted. Oh. Then why do you look like I owe you money? Smile, you don't look good with a dark face. Huamin hugged Qin Chu's neck coquettishly. Qin Chu suddenly hugged Huamin tightly with both hands. It was as if he was afraid of losing her. Huamin froze. We're in public. Be careful. This is the living room. Everyone is watching. South Hill Manor was so big that there were more than 10 maids, housekeepers and chauffeurs. Don't move, let me hug you. Qin Chu hugged Huamin reluctantly. He hugged her so tightly that it was as if he wanted to embed her into his body. Honey, did something happen? Huamin was so smart that it was impossible for her not to feel anything. Chapter 1478. No. Qin Chu sighed slightly. In the end he didn't tell Huamian about it. If he came clean and told Huamian about her past with her personality, she would immediately rush out to find her father and sister. Once his identity was revealed, he would live a different life from then on. Qin Chu didn't want Huamian to live a life of being hunted down and threatened. He didn't want his Huamian to not be able to sleep well and worry about being killed or kidnapped. After all, she had lived as an ordinary person for more than 20 years. She didn't have a tough life like her sister. Plus, with her personality, she couldn't be protected forever. This was why Qin Chu finally decided to do this after careful consideration. Honey, you look tired. A little. Qin Chu's voice sounded tired. Should I ask Uncle Li to ask someone to bring dinner to our bedroom? No need, let's just eat here. Qin Chu let go of Huamin. Then the two of them quietly ate dinner. During the entire process, Qin Chu didn't say a word. Huamin felt like something was wrong. Honey, is there something on your mind? Oh. Is today's food not to your liking? Oh. Then why are you? Before Huamin could finish, Qin Chu raised his head. Honey, let's eat. He was implying that Huamian should stop talking. Let's just eat in peace. For the first time, Huamin felt so uneasy. Qin Chu wasn't usually like this. They had been together for so long, whether it was 7 years ago or in school. Even when they got married 7 years later, he had never been like this. He couldn't describe this feeling. He always felt like he was impatient with you and had no patience. Huamin felt that Qin Chu wasn't the kind of person who got tired of people easily, and he wouldn't believe that he didn't love him anymore. Could it be that he was under too much pressure recently and couldn't take it anymore? Huamin ate his dinner in silence while letting his imagination run wild. When they finally finished eating, Qin Chu was about to go upstairs when Huamin grabbed his arm tightly. Honey, don't make a fuss. I'm going to take care of business. You're not allowed to go. Watch TV with me downstairs. Qin Chu was speechless. People say that people who can't separate work from life are fools. Life is limited, but work is endless and money is endless. We can't sacrifice our lives for money. You're already off work, but you still have to use your personal time to deal with work. It's so unfair to me, mean. Qin Chu tried to persuade her. No means no. You have to accompany me. Otherwise I'll cry. As he spoke, Huamin looked at Qin Chu with tears in his eyes. It was as if he was about to cry at any moment. Qin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He dotingly patted Huamin's head. Hey, don't cry. I'll be with you. That's great. Huamin's tears immediately turned into laughter. The speed at which she changed could be called the best actress. The truth was, Qin Chu was afraid to see Huamin. He was afraid to be by her side. He was actually very conflicted. On one hand, he wanted to be with her as much as he could. He might not have the chance to do so in the future. On the other hand, he didn't dare to see her face to face because he was afraid that he wouldn't have the heart to tell her about the divorce. With Huamin's personality, he definitely wouldn't accept a divorce. After all, it came too suddenly and there was no foreshadowing. However, in the end, Qin Chu still couldn't bear to see Huamin cry, even though he knew that she was doing it on purpose. He still tolerated her little tantrums. Huamin pulled Qin Chu to sit on the sofa in the living room and watch the recently released New Calabash Brothers. Qin Chu was so shocked that he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Huamin, on the other hand, was very happy. Honey, your taste has been a little Chin Chu was a little speechless at Huamin's taste recently. Chapter 1479. It's a little unique, right? Hehe, I actually learned it from Cece. Cece? Chin Chu didn't know how to react. Idiot, you mean Rick's girlfriend? Chin Chu was speechless. She really likes to watch cartoons, so I've been watching them with her. She recommended a lot of cartoons on WeChat and I'm going to watch them one by one. This new version of the Calabash Brothers is really cute, even their clothes are a lot fresher. Huamin watched with great interest as she leaned her head against Chin Chu's chest. She ate potato chips and watched cartoons at the same time. She was extremely happy. She wanted to use this relaxing method to relieve the pressure on Chin Chu's heart. However, what she didn't know was that Chin Chu's pressure came from her. It was a pressure that couldn't be relieved because this was related to her life and her fate from now on. Chin Chu had thought countless times that he couldn't lose Huamin, even if it meant death. However, if he had to choose between Huamin's life and leaving Huamin, he chose to leave. He had to keep Huamin alive. There was only hope if she was alive. If they were both alive, even if they were at the ends of the earth, they would still miss each other. When you look up, you'll see that we're both in the same sky. We'll see the same sun rise and set and we'll see the same moon. Honey, yeah? What are you thinking about? I think you're spacing out. Huamin raised her head and looked at Chin Chu. She noticed that he was distracted and his eyes were wandering around. It's really nothing. Honey, you don't have to worry about the wedding, I've already arranged everything. You've been really busy lately, so I've decided on a lot of things myself. I've decided on the wedding dress, huh? I'm sure I'll look amazing in it. That damned Lingling is going to be my bridesmaid, and she said that she's going to dress prettier than me. She wants to see if she can steal the limelight. There will be a lot of people on that day, I'm a little nervous just thinking about it. What about you, are you nervous? Me, we can't hold the wedding. I'm really sorry. Chin Chu enunciated each and every word. Huamin was only slightly startled. Then he smiled and said, okay, I got it. Then we'll wait until after Dad's surgery. When we have time we'll make up for it. This is nothing. Don't look so bitter and hateful, okay? I thought you owed him a lot of money. It was normal for Huamin to feel a little disappointed that the wedding could not be held as planned. She also understood that Chin Chu had too many things to do recently. It was not too late to wait for her father-in-law to recover. It was going to happen sooner or later anyway. She couldn't run away. Chin Chu saw that Huamin was so reasonable and considerate that he was willing to sacrifice himself to deal with it for his sake. The more his heart ached. He knew that Huamian had put a lot of effort into planning this wedding, but, look at you, I already agreed. Why are you still so sad? Huamin raised his finger and teased Chin Chu. His fingertips slid across his chiseled chin. Huamin, let's get a divorce. After a long silence, Chin Chu finally made up his mind and said what he wanted to say. What did you say? Huamin thought he heard wrong. I said, Huamin, let's get a divorce. Chin Chu slowly repeated this sentence again. He felt his heart begin to bleed. Drop by drop, it seeped into every cell in his body. He didn't dare to look into Huamin's eyes. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to take it. Chapter 1480. Huamin stared at Chin Chu's face for 3 seconds. Then she laughed out loud. Honey, you're scaring me again. Don't do this, we can joke about anything but don't joke about divorce, it's bad luck, really. My mom said that if we keep joking about divorce we'll really get divorced in the end. Mian, I'm not joking. After speaking, Chin Chu stood up and walked upstairs. Huamin also stood up and followed Chin Chu upstairs. She was a little flustered. Even if it was a joke, it still made her uncomfortable. She wanted to see what her husband was up to. Was it a surprise for her? In the bedroom on the 2nd floor, Huamin followed Chin Chu into the room. Before she could say anything, Chin Chu took out a piece of paper from somewhere. He casually handed it to her and placed it on the bed. Take a look, if there's no problem, sign it. Huamin didn't take the paper, she just glanced at it. The words on the paper were very eye-catching, divorce agreement. Honey, stop messing around, I'll stop watching cartoons, okay? You can't punish me like this. Mian, don't you understand? This isn't a joke. I'm not joking. I don't believe you. Chin Chu fell silent. Why? Why are you suddenly getting a divorce? The two of us. Aren't we fine? Qin Chu continued to remain silent. Is it because you think that going against Huasiqian will lead to a lot of trouble in the future, and you're afraid that you'll drag me down with you? Oh. Then you're afraid that the company will go bankrupt because of him? You're afraid that I'll live a hard life with you? Oh. Then you're afraid that if Dad's surgery fails, you won't be able to handle it and break down, dragging me down with you? No, I'll do my best with Dad. I'm prepared for the good and the bad. It has nothing to do with the divorce. Then why are you getting a divorce? There has to be a reason. Huamin looked at Qin Chu innocently. She didn't know what she did wrong. Why did he suddenly mention divorce before the wedding? It was simply unimaginable. Qin Chu still didn't say anything. Huamin was really angry this time. She tore the divorce agreement on the bed in front of Qin Chu. If you don't tell me the reason, I won't agree to the divorce. Mian, don't be like this. How is it? Huamin smiled bitterly. Don't make things difficult for me. Let's part on good terms. To make things difficult for you? Let's part on good terms. Qin Chu, it's easy for you to say. Who was the one who provoked me first and vowed to treat me to noodles for the rest of my life? Who was the one who left without saying a word for 7 years, then came back to kiss me at the class reunion, and then used all kinds of methods to force me to get married with you? Are all the promises from back then now treated as nothing? You want a divorce just because you want to part on good terms? Am I, Huamin, really such a coward? I'm at your mercy. You want to get married, you want to get divorced, you want to leave? What do you take me for? When Qin Chu repeatedly mentioned the word divorce, Huamin was really furious. She glared at Qin Chu and questioned him. Qin Chu still turned his head away, not daring to look at Huamin. He heard everything Huamin said, but he couldn't answer. After 3 seconds of silence, Qin Chu said, when it comes to the division of assets, just let me know what you want. I'll satisfy you. Qin Chu, are you even human? Do you also think that I married you for your money? Why would I care about your family's assets? That you're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxiao Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.